funny. Ha ha, not funny.
Colin.
It's going rogue left and right, man.
And Mike, the Ape Man.
Oh my goodness gracious.
PTR Radio.
You ready to kick ass?
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to PTR Radio here on the fabulous interweb. I should have faded that down. Did a crappy job today. Oh, well, we're here. We're live. We're not in bed yet. You know, but boy.
Almost want to be, but.
Yeah, I think all of us could use a nap. I had to work church yesterday, so I had to start at 6:30 in the morning yesterday. Got home at 1, took a nap till 5, ate dinner, did a little bit of work, and then went to bed at 9. So, you know, you would think I'd have plenty of sleep. Nope. I'm done with work. As soon as we get done here, eating dinner, going to bed. That's the way it's going to work. I think there gets a point of diminishing returns with sleep. Really. You know. They say that you don't really need 8 hours of sleep at our age. I think they're wrong. They're just wrong.
Well, look, Kim and I hate to say it, but we got into the habit of going to bed probably around between 9 and 9:30 on most nights because, well, the dogs demanded it. Not even joking. They'd pace and bark and give all kinds of guff if we didn't go to bed at 9 o'clock.
I know. Mine are kind of the same. My wife wants the dogs kind of in bed by like 9:30. So then I'm sitting in bed, and then I'm just like either looking through YouTube or whatever, and you know, sometimes I will stay up to like 11, but I'm in bed by 9:30, and it's just like, but I'm not doing anything constructive. I'm not accomplishing anything. I'm not, you know, contributing to the betterment of man. You know, I am just using up the lifetime of my mattress.
Well, yeah, I have caught. Boy's not coming up, but Mama Blair says,
I get it.
Who is they and what do they know anyway? Well, that's true. Suddenly I'm hearing DJ Khaled in my head. We don't talk about them. We call them they. They can do whatever they want, but they do not own us. They are the haters. They, another one. But I'm like you. I'll sit there and doom scroll. And like Friday, my eyes were killing me. Like I said to Kim, I said, we got to go to the eye doctor because my eyes were hurting like bad, and I was wearing my glasses all day. And after the weekend, I realized, yeah, you know what? It's just too much screen time.
Mm-hmm.
So now I am consciously trying to not sit there and doom scroll through all the stupid reels and stories and thingamabobs and who's your what's it. Thank God I don't have TikTok on my phone because then it would be a whole other series of doom scrolling.
I was sitting in my wife's office the other day. We were watching Bake Off, and I'm just sitting there with my phone because, you know, I got to watch 2 screens, not just one. And so she looks over and she goes, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm just looking through Instagram." She's like, "Well, I don't have Instagram." I'm like, "No, because trust me, you don't want it." She goes, "Well, who do you have on Instagram?" I'm like, "Mostly it's just The Rock." I said, "Because he posts like 6 times a day." And she goes, "Huh?" I'm like, if he's not telling you about his tequila, then it's his workout routine or it's his TV show, or I'm like, it's because she goes, "What? You got your girlfriends on there?" And I'm like, "No, it's The Rock, it's Ryan Reynolds, it's the distillery that I get my cider from, it's Seth MacFarlane because the Orville." I'm like, so it's all Hollywood people that just spam me all day. I'm really one of those people. I don't have people on it. You know,
All right, Greg, you don't have to follow me.
No, I do. I tell you what, the people I follow, I do follow Mike the Ape Man, and I follow Butterstown, Gifts and Creations. I follow those two. Those are the closest two things to real people that I know. You know?
Okay. Underhanded remark there, but okay.
You know,
I'll take it.
But
I tried to use Instagram. I was like, oh, okay. Maybe I can post all my pictures to it from Alaska. And some people say, there it is. It's on Instagram. It was just too annoying. I couldn't figure out. I wanted to select all my pictures and put them up there, and it wouldn't let me do that. And I was just like, never mind.
No,
I'll send people links to my iCloud.
It's worse to search on Instagram than it is to search on Facebook or Twitter, and it's just a disaster. So that's why I tell people I'm not going to get on the TikTok. I'm like, no, I'm drawing a line in the sand. That's it. I'm being one of those old people that says you need to get on my Facebooks if you want me to see something. That's it. That's where I'm living. You know, I'm that guy. You know, you're lucky I'm not still with Tom on the MySpace. Okay? But
I don't even think Tom is on the MySpace anymore.
No, he could be. He's probably the only one. But no, I don't know. I got a note from one of the vendors we deal with at work that I had done a conference with, and so I found out that my name's yet out there on some more information. But so I re-Googled myself again, because every once in a while you should Google yourself just to see where you're out there. And you'd think PTR Radio would be the number one place that returns my name, but it's not. And the first page still has me listed as an MMA fighter and boxing referee. It still has those Chris's listed. But whatever.
All right, so if you look up Mike the Ape Man, the first one that comes up, I don't even remember this one. CRN Radio.
Oh, see, that's the second one for me. I actually get your PTR host page first.
Okay, PTR host page is second for me. And it's still listing me as Reverend Mike the Ape Man.
I see CRN Talk, yep. I see Reverend Mike the Ape Man from CRN Radio. Then I see your Twitter. Then I see Mike Sanders -Ape Man from a YouTube video.
Yeah, on YouTube, yeah. And there's Ape Man Mike on Facebook. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? Ape Man Mike. This guy.
I don't know. But yeah.
I need with no info and nothing. Start telling people, who are you? I'm Ape Man Mike. So they'll just go bother this guy.
Yeah, so it's so it's one of those things. But yeah, everybody should Google themselves every once in a while. Now, Colin, your name is common enough that there's a lot of people that get returned.
Yeah.
And
it's hard to tell when you look at your own. It's like, yeah, it's Google. They already know who you are, so.
Yeah. So, but at least for the images for you, it comes back with a obstetrician from Perth. So you got that going for you. So, but yeah. All right.
What would be that's true.
Yeah. Let's talk about this. So I just posted this to the chat recently that we had. Now, we had talked about before there was a YouTube series called Adult Wednesday. All right, and it was all about Wednesday Addams as an adult. It looks like, I don't know if it's going to be the same, but it looks like Netflix and Tim Burton, I don't know if they got inspired by it. I don't know if it has anything to do with it, but evidently there is a Wednesday Addams show, which is going to be coming out from Netflix.
Yep.
You know, I don't know that there's that much about it yet, other than it is going to be written and directed by Tim Burton. And it's supposedly got a pretty decent cast so far. So Jenna Ortega is playing Wednesday Addams.
She was in the new Scream, right?
Yes.
And maybe the last Transformers movie?
You know what? I don't know. I couldn't tell you that. Let's see here. Movies. So she was in Scream. She was in Yes Day. So we saw her. She was the older daughter in Yes Day.
That's right. Okay.
She was in The Babysitter. So we saw her in that as well.
That's right. She was
the friend, I think.
Yeah.
She was somehow in Iron Man 3. Don't remember what she was in that.
Sometimes I barely remember Iron Man 3.
Yeah. She was in Songbird. I do not see anything relating to what you were talking about, Mike.
Okay, now I got to go look and see who was in. I don't even remember what the last one was called. Not The Last Night. What the hell was it?
And then in addition to her, you've got Christina Ricci, who we don't know who she's going to play yet. Luis Guzman, who's going to play Gomez. And then Catherine Zeta-Jones is going to play Morticia, which that should be interesting. George Bursaya is going to play Lurch. So, yeah, it's an American horror comedy television series based upon the character Wednesday Addams, produced by MGM, but it's set to premiere on Netflix sometime in 2022. Directed by Tim Burton. So I don't know. Like you said, I'm not sure.
The movie that I was expecting, right? The reason I'm saying this is it almost. I didn't watch the trailers, but because it's Tim Burton, maybe it will have that little darker. I'm on a kick now where I want the darker, menacing versions of remakes. I want them to be adult. I don't want them to be happy, happy, joy, joy, shiny, shiny, shiny. I will set you ablaze where you sleep so that I can fill your evenings with nightmares. That's the kind of remakes I want. I don't know if that's going to be the case with Tim Burton. He gets a little too goofy.
So you want like a Car 54 Where Are You remake where they're dirty cops?
I'm pretty sure that we've seen that before. That plot probably. No, I want to see like like how they did with not that I watched the show, but like Riverdale. Okay?
Yeah.
Riverdale is like a darker version of.
To my understanding, they did the same thing with like Sabrina. It was a very dark version.
Yes. That's an even better example. Yes.
So, yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think I would probably watch a couple episodes just to see what it's like. I watched the movies for tonight that we're going to put off doing the reviews. But I watched the movies for tonight, and then I'm like, okay, what else can I watch? Because I'm kind of bored because, like we said, I go to bed earlier than I really want to go to bed. And so as with the last time I watched movies, I watched some dubbed movies. I started watching a dubbed series called Ragnarok, which is a Icelandic or Norwegian dubbed, thing about the Norse, mythology, and so it's a bit weird. It is definitely a bit weird. But, I don't know. I'm like 3 episodes in right now. And it's...
Okay.
It's a lot darker than like the Almighty Johnson's was, which covered the same stuff, but was from New Zealand. So yeah, I mean, at one point you just run out of stuff to watch on television, so you start digging into all the other places.
So I mean, while we're talking about darker stuff here, right? And stuff that nightmares are made out of, which is kind of where I segued here.
Yeah, you're gonna talk about where you killed the drifter and buried his body in 3 different states?
No, I'm going to talk about. So I was sitting there the other day, having a conversation with myself, as I often do, you know, while the coffee's kicking in, and one of the other morning rituals, besides drinking my coffee, doing my damn Wordle, which is another addiction that we can talk about.
Yeah.
Right? And I log on to the DJ record pool that I'm a member of to see what new records have been. Never once in the history of anything on this planet has anyone ever sat there and said, you know what? I would love to hear a song done by John Goslin of John and Kate Plus 8.
No.
But somehow it showed up as a new release. And apparently this guy, like, literally, nobody in the history of music has ever sat there and looked at John Goslin and said, he gonna be the next Eminem. No, it's never happened. Not even if there was peyote, not even if Snoop Dogg was over there saying, Boshizzle, my nizzle, I produce it. No, it's not gonna happen. But here he is, he's got a damn album out. And it makes me wonder, should I start doing peyote and recording stuff? Because it seems like everybody else has now. The Catch Me Outside chick has an album.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm missing my calling here. I got that. There, that dude that my money don't jiggle jiggle. It folds. I like the way you wiggle wiggle. Faux show. See, like I could do that. Just put a little auto tune on it. I could do music like that.
Yeah. You could
make him bank.
Yeah. Well, like we're talking about the other week. What's that? MC Hawking. You know, anybody can do that, including somebody with
MC Hawking don't even have to speak. If you got the right text to speech, you just type it in and have the computer do it all for you.
Yeah.
Probably cheaper than auto tune.
Yeah.
Oh no, you can get free copies of auto tune. You can do the.
I mean, you know, his new song titled "Voicemail," done in collaboration with DJ Casper.
Another guy I never heard of.
Isn't that the? Wait a second, DJ Casper, ain't he the dude that did like the what the hell the DJ? Isn't he the dude who did like the electric slide? Or something, or the cha-cha slide. DJ Casper did the cha-cha slide. That's who you gonna have help do your rap album?
Hands on your knees, hands on your knees, hands on your knees.
Now wiggle to the left.
Bring it back now, right. Yo. One up this time.
That's real
Two
thug.
ups this time.
At least he matched his level of thugness, you know.
I'm not going to comment on DJ Casper's level of thugness, as you put it, because quite frankly, I don't know. All right.
I mean, maybe you got to be super thug to do the cha-cha slide. I don't know.
I don't know. I've heard stories that like some of the nicest guys when it comes to rap are actually the ones that will
cut you.
Nobody messed with.
I heard one time the nicest guy in rap walk right up on stage on somebody and slap them right in the face on national television. I mean, a man who didn't even curse in his rap. That's how bad he was.
I'm still surprised that we're talking about this still. Actually, that's what's the most surprising about all of this. Because it seems like just when everybody's just calm, moving on, nobody, not a single person, just. And then Jada says, I think it's time that Chris and Will sit down and talk this out like mature men. Meanwhile, Chris is like, I ain't sitting down with shit, man. No. Chris Rock don't want nothing to do with it. He just wants to keep doing his show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His comedy shows. All I know, like Will Smith, like apparently all of these projects got like canceled and shelved and all of this stuff. And like, okay, who's going to be suing who over this? That's going to be the next question. Because now we need another trial to obsess over now that Amber and Johnny have settled their beef.
Yeah, boy.
Well,
and
they haven't settled anything.
there were a bunch of YouTube lawyers who called that one wrong. So, you know.
I mean, I know she's going to appeal. Of course she's going to appeal. But the trial, at least phase one, the trial is over. And a decision was reached. Now, do we dare talk about the decision?
No.
Okay.
I don't know enough to talk about it.
No, I have no opinion. Yeah, exactly. No opinion.
According to the decision right now, she owe him a lot of money that she says she doesn't have.
Correct.
Here's the only interesting part. She says she's going to appeal, but in the state where they were suing each other, to appeal, you have to put the entire judgment amount first into escrow.
And she says she doesn't have it.
She doesn't have it. So I'm just saying that sounds like a really weird law of putting people in catch-22 situations. You get some stupid judge and jury doing something silly like, well, we've decided that because you looked at that guy wrong, you owe him $5 trillion.
Well, okay. So let's just be clear that I believe that is a requirement for civil cases to appeal.
This is a civil case.
Right?
Yep.
Well, I don't want any YouTube lawyers that maybe are watching our show saying, no, actually, if you appeal a murder charge, there's no, no, civil case. This was not a criminal case.
Which means nobody was guilty of anything. There was no guilt.
Correct.
Only liability.
Correct.
Yeah, because if I'm right, they both got awarded damages. Just one got awarded more damages than the other.
Yes. So, but the damages awarded to Amber Heard actually were not awarded from Johnny himself. It was one of Johnny's lawyers that I believe was ordered to pay
because
Amber.
The lawyer was acting as his agent.
Well,
Johnny Depp is liable for it.
Okay. But the charge specifically stated he was the one that committed the act, whether it was representing Johnny or not. That's anyway. It kind of cancels each other out, like because I think she. But then there was also an additional part that they ordered. So it was like $10 million. Then it was like $5 million in punitive damages, but the state of Virginia limits that to $355,000 in punitive damages. So they got knocked down.
Somebody already updated her celebrity net worth page. Her net worth is negative $6 million.
What? Okay. I'm celebrity IOU. Snoop Dogg comes across as a really good guy. Can't really see Heard or Depp doing one of those shows. What is celebrity IOU? Is that some British thing?
I don't know. Never heard of it.
And it's not British.
Oh no, that's that show where
it's an HGTV blockbuster where A-listers express their deep gratitude to the individuals who have had a major impact on their life. So I remember seeing promos for the show. It's the Property Brothers help A-listers like Lisa Kudrow surprise her cousin with a new chic, pet-friendly remodel.
Oh yeah, okay. So I have. Here's my thing about that show. Like the original commercials made it sound like these celebrities were doing great things for like heroes. You know, like community hero. And then you find out, no, we're actually doing this for my cousin.
Yeah.
So it could have been. You could be like for family remodel or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hell, just from
And
just
Snoop.
from my Instagram feed, I know that The Rock bought his mother yet another house, and
Yeah,
made her
second house.
made her 2 rock rooms, not rooms like where rocks are, but rooms where she can showcase her son, The Rock, and it's like floor to ceiling rock stuff.
Now, I would like to also point out, since you brought up Snoop Dogg, that during last night's MTV Movie Awards, which, for the record, MTV, you don't have to put it on a dozen channels to make sure people watch it. And then replay it again right afterwards, okay? I don't need... Scrolling through, I swear to God...
People will not watch it regardless.
I thought for sure that my TV was broken because it was on MTV, MTV2, VH1, Sci-Fi, USA, Nick at Night, TV Land, Nick Jr., and that's only where I got to. Snoop, DJ Snoopalicious, I think, or whatever the hell he's calling himself now. He was the DJ for the event. He's sitting up there with, oh, you shut up. Essentially, the setup that I have right here.
Uh-huh.
Okay? An entry-level DJ controller and a laptop. And they showed him many, many times. He's DJing on national TV with this.
Yeah. Well, he wants to be humble.
How do I not have a DJ contract now? I could be a singer. I could be a DJ. I could probably act.
Well, he wants
Maybe.
he wants to show all the little kids that anything is possible, no matter your budget.
Well,
And probably the last time he really DJ'd, that was his system, because he hasn't done it lately. He has people for that now. He said he wants to buy a donut shop when he retires.
the controller he was using can be bought, I am not even kidding, brand new, for $249.
Yeah.
Shaggy, there's no reason why you can't be doing wiki and all this stuff. Oh, God. I got to take this.
Okay. No, there's a reason why I can't do wikis. I don't know how to do wiki. I don't know that I could ever learn how to wiki. I'm pretty wiki deficient. And yeah, I don't.
We're not sure how to do the wiki.
No.
Much less the wiki.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just something I don't. It's one thing I don't get. So let's see here. Something else. Now we can talk about this, Colin, because I know you have your opinion about this. So Elon Musk. Now I used to kind of like Elon. I kind of thought, okay, that guy's pretty cool. You know, he is he is Tony Stark. You know, he's got lots of money.
Yeah.
He's got these crazy ideas. He builds all this weird stuff. You know, he is going to have his own Iron Man suit someday. He's throwing his people into space. And I thought, so far he's pretty cool. Well,
he does. He says the random crazy things sometimes. He does some things which are kind of weird, and you're like, well, I guess he's the new Edison.
Yeah,
is what we're thinking at the time. Yeah.
Well, actually, you didn't even think
or Howard Hughes.
Yeah, Howard Hughes, or maybe you did think he was Nikola Tesla, right? Because you didn't see him as establishment, so you didn't necessarily see him as Edison. But but then he goes and dashes it all. By a couple of, he said a few things, but I'm only going to highlight one of them. He come out and says COVID-19 tricked people into thinking that you don't actually need to work hard. Well, one, I don't believe that. I don't think COVID-19 tricked anyone into thinking they didn't need to work hard. he also said that he says anyone who wishes to do remote work must be in the office for a minimum of 40 hours per week or depart Tesla. Okay, well, 40 hours a week of in-office work is not working remotely. That means your overtime is working remotely, which isn't working remotely. And he said if they want to work remotely, they should pretend to work somewhere else. Now, I am not going to be so naive as to think that some people don't take advantage of work remote. All right, remote work or working without direct supervision. All right, there are definitely some bad eggs. All right, but I do think that the majority of people who work remotely, take it seriously and get their work done. And I
Agreed.
And I think that it is a benefit to the offices that have remote work, because I've seen the things that employees do. I've seen the lunches and the breaks that are given up because I think, well, I'm just in front of the computer, so, it doesn't matter. I'll eat and work or whatever. So I think personally, and this is my own opinion, is that employers end up getting more out of the situation than they believe they lose. And I am never a person who says you should punish everybody for the actions of a few. I think that's just wrong. If you have employees who are taking advantage of the situation, well, then discipline those employees. Find a way to measure productivity that isn't intrusive, for God's sakes, and, correct those instances where it's being taken advantage of. But don't punish everybody because of the few. And Musk's comments here, just say he's expressed a distaste for American workers. He says they try to avoid going to work at all. And so he really dashes my, opinion of him with comments like that. Because I don't, like I said, certainly there are a few, but they aren't the many. I still believe, because I have to, that the majority of people want to earn a living and have pride in doing so.
So, go ahead, Colin.
I was going to say, so the result of all this is that he has clarified the comparisons, and we now know that he is the new Howard Hughes. So I fully expect someday to find out that he is, holed up in a hotel somewhere in the,
Eating in milk
collecting his fingernails and jars of pee, because that seems to be where he's going.
So, I think he is of the mentality. There's a theory that I've heard folks talk about when they talk about coming back to the office, that while you're standing in line to get your coffee at the cafeteria, you may strike up a conversation with someone who works in a completely different group, and that conversation could lead to ideas that change and enhance the corporate culture, the corporate mantra, the working environment, the product. But the chances of that happening, especially now after COVID, where I don't want to expand my friend circle. No. I don't want to meet new people. I don't want to stand in line next to people I don't know at the office, because I skeeve every single one of those people. That conversation is not going to happen. So if that's part of your reason, I also, so we talked about this once before, that, the mayor of New York City has been talking about how he's pretty much trying to strong arm companies into bringing their workers back full time. And he recently said that state workers now have to come back to the office full time, because it doesn't look right if he's telling other companies to do it, but the state workers are not. But the way he's going about it, I get his reasoning. In a city like in an area like Manhattan, if you have an office building, a skyscraper that is full, all of the luncheonettes, all the dining, all the services around it, that ecosystem thrives. If that office building is empty, the ecosystem dies. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
However, strong-arming that company, whose workers are already remote, will very quickly that company will say, yeah, we don't have to be in Manhattan at all.
Right. We don't have to pay that exorbitant, that fee for that building, that location, if you are going to tell us how to run our business.
So I see a lot of different facets to it. But the distrust that it's very simple. If you were doing that job before COVID, and there's always some kind of widget that you're measured on. If everything is still getting done, then obviously productivity has not gone down.
And is not the way of business always constantly evolving anyway?
Yes.
Shouldn't it be the mission of business to evolve the way that you get that work done? So why would you choose to stagnate in the old method just because of what's around?
You have to be careful how far you go down that rabbit hole, because Musk is the kind of guy who will figure out, well, your job could be done by AI.
I agree, and I know that is a potential danger to the workforce, but realistically, that is going to occur eventually regardless. That is going to happen because the corporate executives, it's their job to save money for the shareholders. The shareholders are responsible to make money. The company's business is to make money for the shareholders, no matter how that happens.
They're legally obligated to do that, which is part of the problem of corporate America.
Well, yeah, I was going to say we could go down that rabbit hole too. That should the company be answering to shareholders or be answering to the market, as in providing the best possible service or product for customers, not concerned with numbers on a ledger so that shareholders are happy.
That's the way it's going to be unless someone changes the law.
Well, and sometimes the best product doesn't make the most money. We've seen that happen several times.
True.
But going back to this, so either of you heard about the Reddit thing on overemployed?
No, I don't think so.
No.
So apparently there's this whole thing of people doing multiple jobs simultaneously.
Working 2 remote jobs at the same time.
Yeah. Or 3. I mean, there's people who run many jobs simultaneously. A lot of them are programmers.
Well, we used to always have a joke. Well, I wouldn't even call it a joke, but one of my first supervisors at work once told me, I was good with some of the reports, and I was able to, from proprietary systems, so I was able to pull data really quickly. One time, I did it so quick that my supervisor said, no, go back to your desk, and I want you to listen to half of that half of an album, and then come back with it. I said, why? Kind of like that scene in the movie Big, where Josh does stuff too quickly, and then dude leans over and says, hey, slow down, you're making us look bad. Never let them know how quickly you can actually get stuff done.
Yeah, the Scotty principle.
Yes. But you don't take that too far. Like, there was one guy that used to come in, or would he figured out how to schedule his emails, so he had emails going out during the day on Saturday to make it look like he came in and was collecting overtime.
Yeah, so I was just looking at this /overemployed from Reddit. There's this one guy who's running 4 jobs simultaneously.
Uh-huh.
He's making $625,000 a year.
And the dude probably still has a social life because at least 2 of those jobs are probably automated.
You know,
But I think when I first saw this, because it came up with one of the Microsoft people said, noticed it and put it on Twitter a couple weeks ago. There was someone there who lost one of their jobs because one of their coworkers figured out what they were doing and turned them in. And somebody else in Reddit responded to that going, "What? Someone turned you in? Why would anybody do that? They just don't know how the world works." And so I'm just looking at this going, oh my goodness, here's the cynicism of why this entire planet is going into the trash bin. Because there's people out here who think that they're allowed to do this, and that all the other workers shouldn't, turn you in and be a snitch. And I'm like, what? Don't be a snitch? What are you, 12?
yeah.
If I find out that one of my, people working on one of my projects at IDOT is doing multiple jobs when they're supposed to be working on my stuff that we're paying them for, they're not going to be there anymore. Because I'm just looking at this going, where is this entitlement coming from? You're entitled to have multiple jobs simultaneously. That's just no.
Well, okay.
No.
At the flip side to this doesn't necessarily mean that they are simultaneous. Like you see that I have I have my 2 computers, I have my 4 monitors here, right? It's not like I'm doing a job and then doing a job, doing a job, doing a job. I'm not turning back and forth. However, while I'm on my lunch, I may turn from this computer to this one and do something for Butterstown.
I'm not saying having multiple jobs. People can have multiple jobs. But these are people who are like, they're in a voice meeting here while they're doing a Teams chat meeting with their hands over here. They're having simultaneous meetings for different employers at the same time.
They're double dipping.
Okay,
dipping on the money.
Well, I guess all right, and I'm playing devil's advocate here because if we all agree, then there's no point in even discussing it. But so devil's advocate, if you hire me to do a task, and I tell you up front, it will take me this long to complete that task, and you say that okay. If I'm working on your task, and my estimate included working on this other task at the same time, working multiple projects at the same time for different employers, where's the problem?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is here, and that's what this guy, this guy on that running these multiple jobs at the same time, he actually says, okay, I'm upfront with everybody that I am running multiple contracts at the same time, which is great. Be upfront, be honest,
Yeah.
And, so he actually does break up his, essentially he's saying he works like 60 hours a week, about 20 hours for each job, but because of the level that he's working, he's almost making a full salary for those 20 hours for each of those positions. And, there are times when the two are overlapping, but in general, they don't. and he's got tips and things. I mean, he actually makes a pretty good case for it. You know,
I have no problem with people doing contract work and doing as many contracts as they can and getting the work done.
Yeah.
But there's people who have multiple full-time jobs.
Yeah, if you're talking salaried work.
Yes. There are people with multiple salaried positions simultaneously.
Now, as an example, you know, I was told a story of somebody when I first started. I was told a story. They tell you you're not allowed to do any other work on company time. If you're on company time, you're doing company work. And they talked about a guy that used to go in on his lunch hour, and he would sit in the bathroom stall with a lap desk, and he would repair watches. And when he got caught, he was fired because he was doing business on company. He was doing non-company business on company property and during company time. So stuff like that. Usually, those terms are laid out, at least in my experience, with a salaried job.
Yeah.
Those terms are harder to enforce when you have people working remote. But to Shaggy's point, so 2 points. One, to Shaggy's point, it shouldn't be assumed that everyone is doing this. Like, don't distrust everyone.
Yeah.
Because one person is doing it. The other, and now I forgot what my second point was going to be. Damn it. Well, I'm sure I'll get back to it. It's going to come up when we move to the next topic, I'm sure.
And it's like for us, I mean, the verbiage for the state, at least for us, is they do have a little bit of a wiggle room for them where they say secondary employees cannot interfere with your state job. So, for example, and the reason why they did that is because they had people that were pulling night shifts that then would fall asleep at their desk, during the day. So that's where they're like, how do we term this so that we can reprimand them accordingly? I mean, we have all kinds of people that work for the state that do interesting things secondarily. So yeah, it gets a bit murky sometimes. But I hadn't seen this Reddit before, so this is interesting, Colin.
Yeah, and to me, because so many of these people were programmers, I'm just thinking about the copyright problems. When I am on work time, contractually, everything I create is owned by the employer, because otherwise, copyright. If that wasn't the case, everything I do is work for hire, right? If it wasn't work for hire, then I actually would own copyright on all code that I write. So if you are employed by multiple companies at the same time, technically everything you write is owned by your original employer. So if your employer finds out that another employer is taking your time, then they actually own the copyright for everything that you created for the other company. And now you're liable to two companies coming at you for everything that you have.
So, I mean, those are very valid legal reasons why you shouldn't be doing this. But the point that I was going to bring up was, the whole part about being a snitch. Well, if the person's not violating any company code or a company bylaw or a term of employment, the person's still getting their work done and is not negatively affecting you.
Yeah.
Why?
But they are negatively affecting you.
But again, devil's advocate, how?
Okay, so speaking strictly on my line of work, okay? So if I had someone who was writing code, and now I'm going in and modifying their code, the question is, who owns the copyright for that code?
Okay,
It can
that's
be argued that
the
the
legal.
copyright for that code is now owned by the other company because that was their original employer. So at that point, now I am now
it's the legal in term of employment thing that I'm saying though. That falls under the legal in terms of employment. That I said if that.
But now I edited. So now I've edited that code and I've sprinkled that code through all of my code. So now I'm liable because I have now broken the copyright of the first company.
Okay. Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. I mean, this is not good.
But then there would. There's also an original sin type argument there that if it wasn't violating any legality, and again, specifically to what you're saying, I'm not debating your example at all because you've laid it out clearly that there's a legal issue here.
Also, I have an ethical obligation to my employer.
Oh,
so if I find out, ethically speaking, I have to report it. Otherwise, I'm being unethical. And I'm also liable at that point.
Okay.
So to say I am, to say theoretically that I would be wrong in being a snitch, I'm looking at that going, well, maybe within your world, but not in the world that we actually live. But you're saying, oh, why are these people being snitches? They just don't understand the world we actually live in. So I'm looking at it going, apparently we both live in different worlds. And I think I prefer mine. Anyway, I just found, as we said, it's a very interesting little, there's all these little things out there you can find on Reddit and stuff of these little cultures within the world. And this is one that's has nothing to do with gender or sex for once.
Okay, well, let's get to this, because we love lists, and lists are always great, and we love to pick them apart.
Yep.
So, Mike, I think this one's going to apply mostly to me and you, although, Colin, maybe you can chime in with your parents, and we'll see. We can rate their relationship. That'd be great. So,
which list?
People are sharing the 15 signs that might mean a couple is faking their happy relationship.
Okay.
So the number one, and so let's see if we, if Mike, you or I fall into any of these. When couples lose their individuality. When everything is couples, matching outfits, always going out together, even if it's supposed to be just gals or just guys, couples retreats, his and hers bedding towels, exclusively referring to themselves as a couple, etc.
I think the only time that I have ever had this issue was around Halloween because Kim, if we were going to a party, Kim insisted that we did a couple's costume, and our costumes had to relate to each other, and I always made it work, but I was never. I was never really happy about it.
I could understand that, though. I could understand that. But no, I will tell you, my parents do this all. My mom and dad don't leave each other ever. I mean, my mom needs to go somewhere, my dad's going to drive. That's just the way that it goes. They don't separate. That's just the way it is, and it's being extremely judgmental when they judge you for not being in one or mention the importance of an intact family and happy marriage in every second sentence that comes out of their mouth. If you're truly happy with something, you don't need to judge other people for doing things differently.
Okay, so the tagline there, being extremely judgmental, initially I was like, shit, yeah, that's me. But then reading the description, No, I don't judge people for doing things differently. I judge people for being idiots and being stupid but not for doing things different than I do it. Look, if you go if I go A B C and you go A D C, we end up at the same spot. We just got there different routes. I can't judge you different. I don't judge you for doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. How about this? When a couple can't stop bragging about their life, about how good life is together.
Okay, let me put it this way. You look on Facebook or Instagram, and when you see people that all they post are pictures of their trips, their food, their meal, where they went, what they bought, all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's all photos taken like this, with both of them in their smash face together.
You look at my Facebook page, my Facebook thing, Wordle. That's it. My news feed is nothing but damn Wordle puzzles. I don't care. I don't brag about nothing or animal stuff. That's it.
Yeah, and
that ties into number 4.
And if there's something nice about your wife, Mike, it's usually immediately followed by a comment of, I left my phone unattended.
That is absolutely correct. And vice versa. You leave me with the cart in the garden center and my phone is in the truck, but you tell me, here, you can just stay on my phone. You damn well know I'm going to post up on your Facebook wall. That is the consequence. But as Mama Blair was very quick to point out, but all the stuff was correct, wasn't it? Yes, it was.
Next one, it goes right with that. Overcompensating on social media. Everybody shows their best couple life on social media.
Correct. Side note, I can't stand that term, living my best life. Man, I will shove my sneaker up your butthole. Yeah, stop.
Number 5.
That and people showing up on different reality shows and competitions going, I'm here to prove to my kids that you can do anything. It's like, no, you're not.
You're here because you have to pay for those kids.
Number 5, being jealous of one partner's friends.
Especially when they spend time with the opposite gender, especially when it comes to each other's friends. Well, I can understand that.
I can tell you my wife was not thrilled with some of my friends before those friends, who were female, got married. She was not a big fan of some of my single female friends. In fact, she did not care for them at all and didn't like when I went out to dinner with them. Even though it was not out to dinner exclusively with them, it was with a whole group of people. But it was like, is Carrie going to be there? Yeah. She went to high school with the rest of us, so yeah, she's going to be there. I don't like her. And then once she got married, she was like, oh, is Carrie going to be there? I wouldn't mind talking to her. Oh, okay, now you're going to come along, and now Carrie's okay because she's married. All right, and then she got really okay once she had a couple kids. Then she's hunky-dory, and they like exchanging stories. So, when a couple is disconnected at social gatherings. See, I don't fully get this one. I can't sit next to her and participate without being frustrated inside. Now, Mike, I don't know how it is with your wife, but like my wife and I may separate at, especially large like dinners and things, just simply because she wants to talk to the people she wants to talk to, and I want to talk to people I want to talk to, and I done talked to her already. I don't have to sit right next to her at dinner. We have plenty of time to talk to each other. So usually I just tell the waitress, hey, that one down there, she's on my ticket.
Well, okay, when you talk about like going out to dinner, I can't remember the last time I went out to dinner with so many people that not sitting next to her was like an option. If you talk about being at a party or something, we talk to whoever. We don't have to be, we're not joined at the hip. So I don't quite understand that one either.
Yeah.
I can't sit next
I
to her.
I do like how this list is trying to capture everything. We're always staying together. They're always apart. Okay.
Oh no! Wait, Shaggy. I think we're reading this wrong. I can't sit next to her and participate without being frustrated inside. So it's like that almost sounds like mad because there's one is forcing the other to stay with them instead of allowing them to separate.
Okay. I guess that could be it.
Maybe this is like the only one that doesn't have an explanation, just a damn picture.
Yeah.
So this one is the actual test. This is
How
the
is
test.
this a sign?
So, number 7, always acting happy and perky no matter what. They seem happy and perky instead of content and calm. Simple questions like, how is it going on, will receive elaborate answers trying to convince instead of simple answers.
Yeah, this would be on the list of 15 signs anybody is faking happiness.
Well, they should have just said if they answer fine. If somebody says fine or okay, then no.
Stuff.
It's not fine. Number 8, relationships that start on rocky foundations. Well, imagine that. If a relationship started on a rocky foundation, maybe it's not going to last.
There's a reason that Sandra Bullock wasn't with Keanu Reeves in Speed 2.
That's right.
Relationships that begin in intense situations never work out. Keanu taught us this.
Number 9, being too blamey and acting like there are mysterious forces at play in the relationship. Well, what if your significant other is a witch? Then there might be mysterious forces at play.
Okay, so yeah, no one gives a shit if you stay together or not. That is absolutely correct. I don't need to see you telling me or telling all the world on social media that the best decision I ever made was to be in a relationship with you. No. That's no.
Yeah.
Next one. I don't like the way this is termed. Sounding like an old married couple. Well, what if you are an old married couple?
So we'll be hanging out with a couple of our friends, and Kim will turn to me and say, "Hey, Mike, tell him about what happened the other day," and I'll immediately start like, "Oh, this bitch. Let me tell you something. What she did." Like
my wife and I are going on 20 years. We are an old married couple.
We just hit 10, and yeah, we're right there with you. Okay, I want to read it.
And what's funny is this image. Okay, go ahead, read that.
So apparently, Mama Blair accompanied Papa Blair to a conference in New Orleans, and there was a coworker, Papa Blair's coworker, that always had designs on his affections. I think that means always flirted with him and wanted to get with him, even though he's married. But she came sashaying up to him at the hotel wearing a cute cowboy hat and hot pants. She then saw me and quickly sashayed away. My reaction, laughed out loud. Well, yeah, because you were there, probably unbeknownst to yourself, giving her the look of death like, I will set you ablaze. Watch me. I will fight you for my man. And I know you would. You would fight somebody for Papa Blair. I know you would. Mm-hmm. Not saying that Papa Blair would ever stray, but you would fight for your man and vice versa. I know that.
So what I thought was funny was this image that they're giving for the old married couple here in bed facing away from each other. Because this is me and my wife most nights.
Well, yeah, this is how we sleep too.
It's like, I don't want you
to be inhaling your exhale.
I don't want to, yeah. You know?
I want my own air Plus, there's usually a cat in that space between us.
Well, actually, what's worse is we're looking at getting a new bed because my wife's back is getting pretty bad, and so my stepson told me about this company called Ghostbed. I don't know if you've ever heard of it before, but
Another one of those. Go ahead.
I don't know. They're supposed to be decent, but anyway, what we're looking at is this guy right here. It is called the Split King. So it is literally two beds.
Well, my parents have a split king. It's great.
Yeah. So not only will we not really be looking at each other, we will be on separate beds. They will just be pushed next to each other.
Yeah.
So
Under bed LED lighting.
oh yeah. Yeah. This is like really it's really nifty. And the nice thing is it'll go into what they call the 0G position for her back, so it's like she's sitting in a recliner at night.
Yeah.
But not actually
I have exactly half of one of those.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents have a whole one of those, yes.
So we're looking at that, and but it's stupid expensive. Oh my god.
I don't recommend. I'm not sure I would recommend the Ghostbed, but the Split King is a very good idea.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, my parents went for a full Tempur-Pedic.
Yeah, they're pretty much the same. I've read reviews, independent third-party reviews, and they're pretty similar.
Yeah.
So. But anyway, so yeah. Okay, so 11, being passive aggressive towards each other. Nobody ever does that.
No.
Here's one I think we can all agree on: corny photo shoots. That is a nail in the coffin of a relationship.
See, here's the difference. They're doing a photo shoot, and there's a guy with an actual camera. It's not a photo shoot with a selfie stick or like a drone or something.
Yeah. I
still don't.
I will tell you what is a surefire way that your relationship is going to fail. If for your wedding photo set, you do the line of, a groom and groomsmen standing up and all of the bride and bridesmaids on their knees in front of them, the old BJ shot. If you do that for your wedding photography, your marriage is most likely not going to last.
Okay, so we didn't do that one. There was a picture where, so my wife took one with the three groomsmen, and she wore the Converse, right? So she lifted up her skirt a little bit, and the three of them were like pointing at her shoe.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I got to do something with the girls. So I had the bridesmaids turn around, like face me, backs to the camera, bend over a little bit, and I did the Home Alone face, and they're like, well, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm pretending that you're all showing me your boobs.
Okay.
And Kim poked her head in from the side, was like, like the little dude from Mortal Kombat every once in a while, like, whoopsie,
I mean, I guess that's not bad. It's just, there are some really cringy wedding party photos, Let's see here.
Number 14. Let's just jump to this one here.
Yeah.
When a couple has a joint Facebook account. Oh. I cannot tell you how cringeworthy this is when there is that is the immediate. There is no trust, or trust is only one way. That.
Yep. And then the last one, when they end up asking relationships on Reddit. I think asking for relationship advice on Reddit might be what they meant, but
yeah.
Well, I think also I would add one more, and that would be asking for relationship advice from PTR Radio, because
we are the best. We're the best.
So, regarding the picture, yes, an old married couple, but neither one are wearing their CPAPs.
Yeah, it is somewhat unrealistic there.
Okay, this is like a Bill Cosby bit here, but took out the obey part of the traditional vows because I knew that would set us up for failure. Let me tell you something. I tried every which way possible to work that word into our vows, and I cannot believe how quickly that word is like a trigger word for women. Like if you somehow figured out a sentence to use that word with the word moist, I think you could probably piss off about 98% of the female population. Okay, and there are other words that you could throw in there as well that are a little more vulgar, but for some reason, unless you're talking about a cake, that word moist will set a lot of women on their ear, and I don't quite know why. I don't understand it. I truly don't.
Well, even Kate Middleton had that word taken out, so I don't know what to tell you. If the Crown Prince can't get it put in, I don't think you have much choice. See, like now, the other day, I forget what the hell I was doing. I was, I think I just. So Kim shared or showed me a reel of like this 80-year-old man doing a Magic Mike dance. He got a beard down to his belly and stuff. So I think I grabbed like one of the doorways and start wow, bow, bow. And she just starts laughing. I'm like, you married it. Better for worse, richer or poorer, sickness and in health includes mental. You married it. Death do us part. Doesn't mean kill me. Yep. Yeah. I was telling my wife, because we just had our benefits period the other day where you could make changes to your health and your death benefits, insurance and stuff. And I'm like, well, I finally got the insurance stuff figured out. I'm like, if you want to live, better off, now's the time to do it, because I just tripled the life insurance and put in the accidental death and dismemberment clause. I'm like, so I've never been worth more, I'm like, sorry, but I'd put a policy on you too, but the only thing you can do for a spouse with the state is $10,000. And she goes, well, why am I not worth as much as you? I'm like, well, it's all they'll let me do is $10,000. And she's like, oh, I see how it is. Women just aren't worth as much. I'm like, no, it's non-employed spouses aren't worth as much. That's all I can tell you. So, but yeah, it's kind of nuts.
Yeah.
Let's
I'll make sure we leave enough time for your story, Shay.
Oh yeah. So we were getting to talk about this a little bit before the show. Colin asked me if I got my plumbing fixed, because we had talked on the last show about how we had these little projects to do around the house and we needed decisions made.
Oh, yeah.
So Colin gave me the advice of, hey, here's the name of a plumber. I won't say the name again because of what I'm about to tell. But here's the name of a plumber that I used, that my parents used, that was really good. And then I explained my problem, and you said, that's just changing out the cartridge inside the little knob thingy, and it should be like $200. And I'm like, well, that sounds good to me. I think that's probably a good cost. And, so I called him up. And then I called him up, and then I called him up, and then I called him up, and then I called him up. I must have left 6 messages for them to call me back. Took like 4 days to get a hold of anybody because nobody bothered to return calls. I should have known from then that it was a bad idea. All right. So somebody finally called me back and said, oh, yeah, we can have somebody out today. All right, great, cool. It's awesome. I'm working from home today. It'll work out great. That way my wife won't have to worry about it, and I can just be here. So they came out a couple hours later, and I showed him what was going on. He goes, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. I'll write up a estimate for you here real quick, and if you like it, then we'll get it done. So, okay. I was thinking that seems a bit extreme for a couple $100. I don't know why they would write up an estimate for that, but okay, whatever. So he comes back and he goes, okay, it'll be about $460. $460? Okay. You're here already. It's kind of rude to send him away because I'd still have to pay the trip charge of like $30. All right. So he goes, okay, I'll run out to the truck and get the part that I need. Singular, part 1. So I tell my wife, and she goes, how much is that going to be? She goes, and he's replacing it? I'm like, no, he's just replacing the insides. She goes, we could buy almost a whole new shower for that. I'm like, I don't know.
Well,
maybe
you can't. Yeah,
maybe it's like, she goes, we definitely could buy a new faucet. And I'm like, I don't know. And she goes, how much did Colin tell you it was going to be? I said, oh, like a couple $100. And he's usually pretty good about this, but I don't know. Maybe it's more involved than I think. I'm like, he's kind of here now. So, and I already told him, okay. And so he replaces it in 20 minutes. 20 minutes, like $460. And I paid the guy because, well, you kind of have to. And then they sent me a survey to fill out. My wife, after he left, goes, well, we're never calling those people again. And I said, well, this will be the first time Colin steered me wrong. I'm like, I could have told the guy no, but he was here, and it's kind of difficult to turn them away once they're here. And she goes, yeah, I know, but that was a lot of money for nothing, other than he fixed it. So then when they sent me the survey, I replied back. I'm like, quality of service. Yep. 5 out of 5, was repaired, done to your satisfaction. Yes. I'm like, I gave him decent marks, and then overall satisfaction, 3 out of 5. And then comment. I'm like, honestly, feel like it was more expensive than it should have been. For the price I paid, I should have gotten a brand new faucet. Twice. He was here for 20 minutes and repaired a part, and it was $460. I don't know what your price on parts is, but it seems a bit excessive in my opinion. Again, no complaint about the service being given, just the prices charged. Because I wanted to be honest. The guy was nice, he was neat, he did the job. I just think it was a bit expensive. And I'm not the only one, because looking at the reviews, that seems to be the overall feeling is, hey, these guys do good work, but you better be rich if you're going to have them.
How much was gas that day? Was there a fuel surcharge added into that? And this one, I'm going to let you read and respond.
He may have no.
Yeah, but you should have charged $200 for knowing what to.
He charged me $400 for knowing what to do because he looked at a YouTube video, likely. All right, I probably could have figured it out myself, but I did want it done now. And I get it. I get it. People pay me for doing what I know because of the things I know. But I also charge a very reasonable rate. I could charge an exorbitant amount of money for what I do. And people would pay it. But I don't, because I have a conscience. And I have to be able to sleep at night. Evidently, these people sleep at night on mattresses made of $100 bills. And maybe they sleep just fine.
I will say that sounds excessive. I have come to appreciate the reality of you pay more money to a plumber and then you don't have thousands of dollars worth of damage to your house when something you did yourself comes apart on you and gets water everywhere.
Well, and that's why I was willing to pay for it, but I just my wife goes, we could have called Easter Day, who I normally call, and they'd have done it for like $150, $200. And I'm like, well, I wish you'd have told me that before I called these people, because I didn't think we had a normal plumber.
Yeah, if you had a normal plumber, then definitely should have called your. Yeah,
and she said, she said, well. You seem like you were handling it, so I was going to let you handle it, which is like, hey, asshole, ask me next time. So, yeah, I took the brunt of that one.
Yeah. I've heard lots of not so good things on that side, so that's why we don't use them. But anyway.
What'd you say, Mike?
Like with the comment that I had you read. You've watched enough reels. You've spent enough time doom scrolling that you must have seen something. It costs that much because it takes me an hour. It's not too expensive. It's not overpriced. You want to underpay, and you're paying for the. I've seen enough of those Etsy videos where I know. Okay, yeah, don't. Or those memes, don't undervalue your work. You're worth more than that. Not when you're a friggin' plumber, okay? I would have asked to keep the part. I would have asked to keep the old part. And I would have went and I would have tried to look it up. Or I would have stole it out of his bag. Find that part and see how much that part costs and then done that review. I've done that. You know, I've gone back to my mechanic I've gone back to my own mechanic who when I look at the invoice and I see he's got a part for like $200 that I saw was on Amazon, I could have bought off of Amazon or right from the dealer for $100. I've gone back to him and said, you got to be kidding me here. Yeah. I know you make money off your parts, but this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Now, I understand his markup because he guarantees the part. If you bring in the part, he doesn't guarantee it. Mm-hmm. I understand that. However, there's a reasonable markup, and then there's being a dick about it.
Yeah. And it's not like I tried to fix it first, which, hey, I get if you try to fix it first. Yeah, Colin. Colin, how much of that made its way into
that cruise?
How much did it make into your pocket, Colin? No, I mean, I get if somebody else tried to fix it first, you get charged an a-hole fee. All right, but I didn't do that this time. So,
and refresh my memory. This was because
there was slight
the
drip.
Temperature.
No, there was a slight drip in the tub faucet.
Oh God! It probably was just a damn washer.
It probably was
a rubber gasket.
It wasn't a washer. I mean, it is a cartridge, but still, replacing. I mean, depends. And made the cartridge,
and he didn't even have to go in. He didn't even crawl into crawl space to turn off the main water. He turned it off in the damn front yard. He didn't even have to crawl into crawl space. If he'd have crawled into crawl space, I'd have said, okay, that's worth like an extra $50 because I didn't have to do it. But he turned it off in the friggin' yard. So, I emptied out my furnace room so that he could get to the crawl space easier, for nothing. Ugh.
Well, next time you know how you turn off your water without having to go into your crawl space, I guess.
Just irritating. It's just irritating.
Oh, I know.
But it doesn't drip anymore.
Been there.
Right?
Yeah, it doesn't drip anymore.
I've been there too. That's.
And it was really bad because like less than a week later, my air conditioner broke. And I'm like, oh, God damn it. I probably could have used that money to fix the air conditioner.
Well,
luckily,
that's where
we know a guy. So,
Yes. Luckily, I know a guy when it comes to HVAC. And 4th of July weekend, he was able to help me out and hook me up with the parts I needed and walk me through. He's like, dude, now listen, you can do this easily. Yeah. Send me a picture of the part. Okay, there you go. Yeah, I got it. Come get it. Okay, great.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
praise to Jesus.
Yeah. But it's like, you know. So that was my experience. And it's
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking around, Shaggy, and it's impossible to tell. You have anything from these cheap cartridges that probably came from Big Lots quality stuff for $10, and then you have ones that are like for Kohler and other name brand ones, and they cost $100 just for the cartridge. So it's difficult to tell how much you got ripped off. But I will say you probably got ripped off. I'm sorry.
it's okay. It's okay. Like I said, I live and learn. Live and learn. So, you know, we'll go from there.
Now, speaking of living and learning, like you're at least able to live and learn here. I would like to get to a story about someone who apparently has not lived and learned anything just from the looks of them because, damn, Instagram model says her 22-pound breasticles got her kicked off of a plane. Now, there is so much to unpack from this post, people. Shaggy, could you possibly put up a picture of said Instagram model?
Yes. That's your Instagram model. That's a model.
I try very hard not to judge people based on their appearance. However, in this case, I feel perfectly capable of judging this person based on her appearance, because 99% of this is not her. It's a surgeon or a tattoo artist or plastic.
Yeah. So, yeah, not something that we would definitely...
I have seen blow-up dolls off of Wish that look better and more human than she does.
Not my vision of attractive.
No. There's someone for everyone out there. I firmly believe that. And I mean it as firmly as the filler in her lips.
Yeah. But so she is saying that she got booted off the flight because she looked too explicit.
Which the airline has come back and said, no. She was booted off the flight because she was using her electronics devices when we kept telling her, turn the shit off.
Yeah. Now,
yeah.
And she got onto a subsequent flight later. So I would assume that what the airline told us was in fact the case. But nonetheless,
but how do you get clicks if you're not?
Yeah, if you're not outraged.
Stuff.
Nonetheless, she is going to go forward with a discrimination suit against the airlines for, quote, discrimination against enhanced bodies.
Oh, really now?
Yes. She Mary Magdalene, as she calls herself, has dropped over 6 figures on a wide array of plastic surgeries throughout her life, and she says she is going to sue for the discrimination that she was shown.
Her breasticles are 22 pounds. That means okay, the fact that they have a weight on them means that somebody said, I'm going to weigh this implant before we put it in.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure she's very proud of.
Well, and you don't just go to that size. You don't just start there. You got to work your way up.
Well, yeah. So I mean, this is years of dedication. I totally.
Yeah.
Fine. I almost said I respect that you committed to this, but however, like, what size are they legitimately now? Because I have not seen a single picture that you posted of her wearing any kind of bra, which tells me that these things are.
I think
does she have like airplane cables in there holding them up? What's going on? Are they internally supported? Or?
I don't know. But I was curious about that. Because I thought that a 38J is what she says. And get this, she started off. Do you want to take a guess at what she started off as? Her original size?
32B.
Absolutely correct. 100% correct.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
Not exactly something I want to be proud of guessing correctly, but But okay, what's her damn name? Because now I gotta go.
It's Mary Magdalene.
All right, now I got to see if there. Let's see if we can find like a before picture. There we go, Mary Magdalene before surgery.
Oh, that would be great. That would be a great.
Oh my gosh. Dude.
I was trying to find. Did you find one?
Well, I mean, this is
okay.
Video, but
I think I got one.
Yeah, this has her before picture in it.
Yeah. So here, I don't think that's fully done, but that was.
Oh no, that's not fully after.
Well, yeah, it's from 2021. So I think it is.
I don't believe that's fully after.
Maybe not. She was cute before, though.
If you scroll down the link that I sent you.
Okay.
All right, there is a picture about halfway down that shows her real, like, before.
Yeah.
Before any of her surgeries.
Wow, yeah.
And this is kind of a fuller picture. That turned into Fugazi.
Into that.
I just,
what? It's just that's all.
How
that borders
how much
on.
Can you make?
That borders on body dysmorphia. You know, she was really cute.
Absolutely. You spent so much time trying to figure out if you could. You never once asked, should we?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't understand. The other question is, did she have to buy 2 seats?
I would hope so.
Well, it depends on the. No, because she said she was in like first class because she was paying $5,000.
Oh, jeez.
Which
first class $5,000.
In Canada, the U.S. Why do you need to pay that much money for a seat? Well, probably because she doesn't fit in the seats right here.
Well, maybe. Maybe in first class you're a little more isolated, so you don't have people oogling you saying what
onlookers.
Yeah. Is that, Daddy, is that Bigfoot? No, that's not Bigfoot. Loch Ness Monster? No, it's none of those things. The Chupacabra? Maybe the Chupacabra. Maybe. Keep crying on this flight and find out. Yeah, I'd love to be. Actually, if I had kids, I'd love to be on a flight with her. Because I'd be like, remember all those times that I told you if you misbehave, I'm going to call the Chupacabra? There she is. There she is. I want you to remember her. Remember that look. because that's the one that's going to come and get you.
Oh. Yeah. Oh boy. All right. Let's see here.
So
What else do we got?
All right. So this is usually where we would start the movie reviews. So maybe we could talk about movies for a second.
Yeah.
Kim actually said the other day, or it was right after the last show. She says, "We need to buy our tickets." I said, "What? Huh?" She actually wanted to go to the movies. This is the first time in years that she actually said to me, "I want to go see this." The last time she wanted to actually go to the movies to see something in the theaters was when Titanic was re-released in 3D. That's a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
We went to see Top Gun Maverick
Oh.
Saturday. And I don't know if you guys have seen it or were planning on
I
seeing
saw
it or
it.
not.
I have
I have a story about it as well, but go ahead.
I have not seen it yet, but that's okay because I probably won't see it for a good long time. So so go ahead.
What I will say is this was by far the best sequel that I have seen in a long, long time. And by that, it's like it meshed perfectly with the original.
Good.
I highly recommend if you see it, and go see it on an IMAX screen. You must. I'm planning on. I said when Avatar comes out, I didn't see the first one on a big screen. I am not making that mistake again. I'm going to go see that on a big screen. But yes, we went to the seat that had the subwoofers in the seat, so you felt the rumble when the jets flew by. Yes, awesome. I loved all the throwbacks to the original. Won't spoil them, but Colin, please, your story. It's probably more exciting than mine.
Well, so we learned something about Top Gun Maverick that we did not know before we saw the movie. And that is that it's a kids' movie. And we found that out because the theater was full of families with kids and babies. And we're like, and we got there on time and sat in our seats, which was at the end of the row for reasons. And then we then had to get up out of our seats at least 6 or 7 times as more and more parents with kids keep going past us to fill in this row. I'm just going, am I in the right movie? You know, I was pretty sure this was Top Gun Maverick, but is this some kids movie that's here instead for some reason? No, they're all there to see Top Gun Maverick, and I'm just like, okay. They were quiet for the most part, so the movie was enjoyable, not ruined by it being a Chuck E. Cheese. But yeah, that's the quick story. No, I was good. It was good. I'm not sure I'd give it as much praise as Mike did, but yeah, it's good.
Okay.
This was I read that this was Tom Cruise's highest grossing movie thus far.
It's doing very well. Yeah.
I think it broke 500 million this past week, worldwide. I want to say it was at 534 million after this past weekend worldwide.
I know there's a lot of stories coming out about it, about, people who refuse to be back in it. People like Val Kilmer who were basically begging to be back in it.
Now, I heard a different story about that one, that Tom Cruise begged Val to come back, or basically said we have to have Val in this.
Well,
it was a question of how much he would be in it.
I kind of, what I had heard was Val begged Tom to be in it, and then Tom told the studio, I won't do the movie unless Val is in it. So kind of a combination of the two.
Okay. And I thought his storyline was fitting.
Yeah.
It was very important. It was also thrown away. That's probably the big thing I complain about in the movie. So.
Yeah. And I do have.
That,
I do have the the Val Kilmer documentary on my list of must watch, because that looks like something that's probably going to be good. I'm thinking I'm going to enjoy it more than I did the Amazing Jonathan documentary. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, and to Colin's point, I don't think they used Ice as a character as much as they could have in the movie. I guess that's maybe what you mean by throwaway. Like
No. There was the point that Ice was making. So Mav wanted to do something. Ice said, "No, you shouldn't do that. You should let go." And then that, because of the events in the movie after that, that gets thrown away, and he does what he wanted to do in the first place. So that part of the plot line,
okay.
I think, kind of could have been done better.
Okay,
because
I hadn't thought of it that way, but I understand what you're saying. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's not a movie-killing flaw. It's just I look at that and I go, gee, you could have rearranged the script a bit during that meeting to not blatantly go against what he wanted you to do anyway.
So, Shaggy, I guess the other characters you were talking about were Meg Ryan and Kelly McGillis.
Yes.
Yes, one of those is discussed a lot. The other one, who?
Well, the other one, so Meg Ryan was discussed a lot in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And
shown.
Not really giving away anything by saying that her character, she was dead in the movie.
Yeah.
Kelly McGillis said, I had no desire to be in that movie.
Yeah.
She was that.
Well, she said, people asked her, and she goes, well, I have aged, 20 years, and I look like I've aged 20 years. So.
Well, yeah, compared to Tom Cruise, who looks like he aged, I don't know, a minute.
So.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. So there's this scene, there's this little thing before the movie starts where Tom Cruise shows up in front of the camera to talk about how he's really happy that we're there to see the movie, and he and everybody who worked on the movie did it for us. And you're looking at us going, you're like, huh. So that's what Tom Cruise looks like. Because Tom Cruise showed up on camera not covered in makeup. He just kind of showed up. And you look at it going, that's what Tom Cruise actually looks like today. Not the Tom Cruise that we see in the movies covered with industrial makeup. So anyway, I thought that was interesting to see what Tom Cruise actually looks like.
Is it so?
No.
If you can't stand Tom Cruise, is it good enough to make me look? Well, I don't know. I guess it all depends on how much you like that kind of story. I mean, have I ever looked at a movie and said I absolutely will not go watch it because this person is in it, or a TV show, or no. Although now I do kind of have that feeling towards Will Smith that I try not to watch any of his stuff. But I
Kevin Spacey.
Well, even Kevin Spacey. If I go back and decide to watch Seven or American Beauty or the rewatch House of Cards, is my opinion of those films going to be less, or Usual Suspects? Is my opinion of those movies going to be less because of what Kevin Spacey did? if I'm gonna take that stance, then the entertainment value of half the movies out there in Hollywood is sucked away into a vacuum because there's less and less folks that you can actually look up to in Hollywood.
Well, it's like Leah Remini. Is that how you say your name? From Kim and Queen. You know, she came out quite vocally about Tom Cruise recently because of his, you know, the attention he's getting because of the Top Gun movie, and you know, was like, don't let the popularity of this movie make you forget about the atrocities that him and his religion are doing to people.
No, I totally get that. I totally agree with that. It's a fine line here. I know, but
you know, she just but like you said, you know, to some degree, you have to be able to separate it a little bit. You know, otherwise the world gets ruined for you pretty fast. So, you know, I mean, I still like some of the comedy bits from Bill Cosby, even though I don't like the man. So, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes those comedy bits can kind of leave you.
Well, it's like it's exactly like crap. Now I forgot his name.
Well, here while you're trying to think about it, let me say. So I actually have on vinyl some of Bill Cosby's early comedy routines.
Yeah.
Right. If you go back and listen to his whole bit about, so there's a couple. There's $75 car. There's the whole bit with Noah.
Mm-hmm.
And those were like the ones that I really remember.
Yeah.
Those stand the test of time. I mean, you listen to them; they're still funny as hell.
Yeah.
And if you didn't know they were Bill Cosby, you probably would still think they're funny.
Well, yeah, and
if Amy Schumer decided she was going to repeat them in her next special, you'd probably think they were funny.
Yeah.
So
it's like who I thought of was Gallagher, right? When I was growing up, Gallagher was one of the funniest things on television I'd ever seen. I thought Sledge-O-Matic and jumping on a gigantic sofa was absolutely hilarious. Then I got older, and I think when I was 16, 17, he actually came to town. And so I got tickets, and I went. And it turns out that he is a raving homophobic racist. And it really changed my opinion of him at the time. You know? So, yes, you're allowed to have a different opinion of someone after you learn something. But it doesn't have to change the way that you thought about his previous work. It doesn't, you know, that work can stand on its own. But you can definitely have a change.
Ties to the discussion we had about Bruce Willis and about like the previous judgments. Like when he was not showing symptoms, if I ran into him way back then when he was doing Moonlighting or Return of Bruno, and I thought he was a dick, I'm not going to change my opinion of that interaction with him because he's sick now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Granted, Bill Cosby was probably doing a lot of that stuff when he recorded those comedy bits.
Yeah.
So,
but here's so to go back to the original thing. To me, it's highly dependent on: is it a character actor playing a character, or is it a movie star who basically just plays themselves? Right. So, like for Tom Cruise, for example, he pretty much just plays Tom Cruise. He's not. I've never really seen Tom Cruise as that great of a actor playing a, character. Other than it's Tom Cruise. It's Tom Cruise as a pilot. Tom Cruise as a race car driver. That kind of. That's the difference between a quote unquote star and a character actor. A character actor tends to play characters, sink themselves in the characters. A star usually is themselves to some degree. And that's the difference to me of, if I don't like Tom Cruise, I'm going to see a movie where it's basically Tom Cruise there for 2.5 hours. Then it's probably not going to be good.
So, all right. So we're not doing movie reviews tonight. We're going to pass those off to next week. And just for those, in case you didn't know, it was Project Power and Friendsgiving. And just to give you a little hint, one of those is good, and one of those is essentially a repeat of something we have already watched.
And I am the offender who didn't get them watched.
And
so
Colin doesn't know which is which.
Although I can probably make a guess.
I'm going to venture to say that both of them are actually semi-repeats. So.
Semi, I would say. But, one is more.
One more so than the other.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. And by then I'll probably have watched a bunch of other garbage on Netflix. And you know what? I'm running out of things on Netflix to watch. So I'm going to have to go back to Amazon and start exploring more Amazon garbage. But also, the Orville started back up. Did either of you watch the first episode of the Orville, which came out this week?
I've pretty much only watched the first episode of the Orville, but that's from season 1.
Well, the Orville came out. They dedicated the first episode to Norm Macdonald, who passed, but who was a recurring guest on the show. It was very nice. And so yeah, it was actually a really good episode. So, which who thought an episode around suicide could be a good episode, but it was.
That sounded dismissive, by the way. I liked the Orville. I just had never gotten back to it.
What'd you say, Mike? Spoiler alert?
Yeah. See, look, I'm boycotting the Orville because I'm not going to watch it since they jumped. And not only did they jump, but Seth MacFarlane says the budget and the sets are so much more. It's now like 10 mini movies. That's the budget we got. You know what? Fugazi, man. I ain't subscribing to watch you now. No, I'm not. Sorry. Boycott.
Yeah, I didn't subscribe to watch it either.
I'm just already subscribed.
Yeah, I already have a subscription, 1, but 2, I didn't subscribe to watch it either. I watched it. Another one.
Sad to say, I don't even have to ask which service it is. I'm sure I'm subscribed to it.
It's just Hulu. I mean, it's Hulu.
Okay.
But I don't know. It's one of those things. So, all right.
Obi-Wan. Did either of you watch Obi-Wan?
No. I unsubscribed from Disney. Oh, well, no. Disney is the one that I didn't unsubscribe from only because of the children. But I did unsubscribe from Discovery Plus because I didn't watch it. I keep looking for things to unsubscribe to. I don't use.
Yeah, I'm going to be unsubbing Discovery Plus and only subscribing when new BattleBots content shows back up because there's no penalty for unsubscribing. I cannot unsubscribe from Paramount / Showtime because I'm grandfathered into this deal through Apple TV where I bought one and I got the other free. So I can never unsubscribe or I'll lose them.
Okay, so I showed you guys my Mac that I got on the last show, right?
No, I think you discussed it. I don't think you showed it, did you?
Oh, yeah. I got the MacBook Air.
You showed us the Air, and you said that you had gotten another machine.
Yeah. So the other machine, I think we talked about it a little bit, came in as well. So this is my other new laptop, which is so far been pretty nice. So,
what is that now?
Yeah, you talk about it. That's right.
Yeah.
You didn't show the Intel.
So this is an Intel Whitebook. And,
yes. That's right.
So it's already been. So I already cracked it open and upgraded. So it went from 8 to 40 gigs of RAM, and it went from because I put a 32 stick in there because why not? And then it went from a 256 gig hard drive to that plus a 1 terabyte. So, and it's it's pretty nice. I like it. It's working well so far. So
I was actually on. Well, Kim and I were discussing the other day. We were sitting there, and I just happened to be on Woot, and I was looking at stuff, and I was telling her, for the business, I was like, well, not that you'd use it a lot, but do you think you would get some use out of an iPad for design work, go to talk to customers and all? And then we got to talking, and she's like, well, honestly, she calls the Surface a click-clack from,
okay.
what was it, The Following with Kevin Bacon? That's what they used to use, and they would make it a point to click the kickstand out, the click-clack.
Ah, okay.
And she was like, well, I think I'd use that more because it's more like a computer. So then I started looking at refurbished and recycled surfaces, and I don't know, man. Like I'm not sure. I said Colin's the guy. I got to ask him. Are there any specific Surface Pro models that I should avoid? And I'm looking back as far as like the Pro 4, as far as refurb.
Right. I would say, definitely nothing before the 4. But I think you also have a problem going back that far, that you're limited on future Windows 11 upgrades if you ever need to do that. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
11 we're not really concerned about because not a single computer in this house has been upgraded to 11. I think only one is capable, and that's my Duke, which I'm not upgrading because that's my work machine, and I don't want to jeopardize that.
Yep.
So 11 is not as big of I didn't know if there was any specific years that had any any major glitches to worry about. Like I remember you saying at one point
they always had some firmware stuff, but no.
I remember at one point you were talking about how your I think it was your 4 was like overheating, like the fan towards the end of its life started constantly running or something like that. And I don't know if that was a design flaw or.
No, I don't remember that. I mean, my 4 is fine. I just don't use it anymore.
Okay.
Because this is my Surface Pro X, which has the cell built into it, so I use it more than anything. It's ARM processor, so.
That was the other thing. Like if I was looking at something to use as a backup for when I'm DJing, I need an i5 or I need a Mac. For my specific program. It won't run on anything less. So
yeah, do not get a Surface Pro X because it has to be. It's able to emulate now 64-bit software, but it's definitely faster with native ARM stuff. You can get up to an i7 in a Surface Pro 4 and above or stuff. So. You may also, let's see. There was that other Surface, the one that actually detached from a base. That one could actually have a exterior. Yeah, it might have been the book. But that one could actually have.
It had the funky hinge, right? Like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the book, not the laptop. The book. Yeah, I saw a couple of those too. I wasn't sure.
Some of those actually have a actual AMD processor in the keyboard section. So you have discrete graphics if you need a little more processing power for your applications.
Good to know.
Okie doke. Well, I think that's probably going to wrap it up for tonight's show. You know how we love to leave you guys, wanting more. So, want to thank everybody for tuning in and chiming in on tonight's show. Don't forget, we'll be back in a couple weeks. That's going to put us right at the 20th. So on the 20th, you can look forward to our double feature movie review. Like I said, we'll be talking about Friendsgiving and Project Power then, and we want to hope everybody has a great couple weeks in between there. And other than that, just make sure you tell everybody about the show. Let's get the word out on it, and we'll go from there. We really appreciate everybody downloading the show. Don't forget, check out ptrradio.com or check us out on all of our socials at PTR Radio on just about everything out there: Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, etc. And again, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we hope that you all have a great week. Other than that, anybody got anything else?
Nope.
All right, then. I'm Shaggy.
Negative.
I'm Colin.
I am Mike the Ape Man.
Stick a fork in us, folks. We are done. Later.